Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's first Friday Toast to the Arts and Park show with the National Parks Arts Foundation. We love these shows because we get to chat with artists and residents across the country, wherever they go, whether it's Dry Tortugas National Park on their own island, or maybe it's Hawaii-Volcanoes National Park, complete opposite sides of the country. But these artists get to stay for an entire month and create.
It's cool.
It's a really unique program, and I encourage you to go to National Parks Arts Foundation.org. And today we're excited to welcome back painter and rancher Alice-Leese. She's been on the show. I can't actually count how many times. She's done a lot of residences, and she is an amazing, amazing artist. I encourage you to go to her website. It's Alice-Leese.com, and that's L-E-E-S-E, Alice-Leese.com. She is based out of West Texas, and we hope to see her soon. We've been talking about it for years. So we get to see her on Zoom right now. So welcome back, Alice. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Lisa and Nancy. It's good to be here. And this is actually my second time at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. So it was even better the second time. So
I know you were on with us with Fort Union, Dry Tortugas, and then Hawaii as well. I think
Hawaii,
that's one of the first ones. So Haleakala? No.
In 2019, I went to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park.
Wow.
On the Big Island. And then in 2022, now I was able to go back. So
wow.
This time was better because the volcano is active right now. Kilauea.
Oh, cool.
There's a new Kilauea is erupting down in the Halia-Mau-Mau crater. And I apologize for any mispronunciations. They're all my fault. And I've heard it pronounced Halia-Mau-Mau, Halia-Mau-Mau, Halia-Moo-Moo.
Nancy loves to wear a moo-moo.
Every way
sounds good.
every way this West Texan pronounces the Hawaiian names is wrong. And a lot of laughs, and I'm glad that people laugh at me because I am really trying. I'm glad I can entertain.
Well, it's better to be laughed at than to be, people get mad at you for getting it wrong. And there's no way we can know. I know it's Hawaii, there's aloha, there's certain things, and we don't know it all. And I think it's really harder. It's easier when you get there and communicate with people there. You kind of get that immersive experience. So you get a little bit better than if you weren't there.
You hear the natives speaking, and the park rangers, who are wonderful. They can speak, they can pronounce every word, it seems like, perfectly. And then I will try to work on my pronunciation. And sometimes they look at me and say, you just can't get rid of that West Texas accent, can you? And I say, no, I just can't.
Kind of born and raised.
Well, hey, that makes sense. Like in New York,
okay.
We have a problem.
Well, this is interesting that you went back, because, when you think you've done a number of residencies with the National Parks Arts Foundation and going back to the same place, what inspired you to sign up or, to apply for this one? Because I know everyone's in an application process, and if you don't get accepted the first time, try again, artists. And this is open to painters, musicians, photographers, dancers, filmmakers. Whatever you do in the arts, please do apply. Seriously. So and even the house you were in has a recording studio in there, right?
Oh, it does. It's wonderful. When I got there, there's the recording studio. The first time I was there in 2019, of course, the crater, there was no active lava, but this time in 2022, there is active lava. So it was great to be there and see that at night. It's really only visible at night, but you can go during the day and see some of the lava. So yes, it is an application process. You need to submit a resume, a bio, work samples, and a proposal. So my proposal this time, different from last time, was to go along the Chain of Craters Road and paint the sites along that road. So starting, and
Ooh.
what I did was start at the, not at the top, but at the Haleakala crater and the Kilauea crater, and then come down the slope. Mauna Loa is the volcano, and that's the largest shield volcano anywhere in the world. And so
Wow.
you're starting to just a little ways up the slope of Mauna Loa and at the craters, and then you come down. And so this painting beside me is one of the craters on the Chain of Craters Road. And there are a lot of craters on that road. So I was going along the road, painting all the craters, pull out all the pullouts where you pull out and look, you stop, look, you spend time. Like you were saying, this is an immersive experience. And I like to get there and scout painting sites, you know, the first few days,
Mm.
go on all the ranger tours. I can't emphasize that enough. If you're
Oh, I
visiting
agree.
a national park, those rangers are there to show you
Mm.
the sites in the park, and they make those parks for people. So the
Mhm.
rangers want you to be able to enjoy that park safely. So check in at the visitor center, go and meet the rangers, go
Mhm.
on the ranger tours. That's so informative. They can tell you the best spots to go and view the active lava, and you want to go at night to see the lava because, you know,
They really are so good at their job that it makes your visit way more meaningful.
oh, it does. Those parks were created for the people.
Mm.
And, you know, if you, they can't just have a park and then have no one there. That's part
Right.
of the compromise. You can't protect a place and have no one visit.
Exactly.
You need visitors. So the Park Service are so welcoming and just really know their stuff. But so the proposal was to go along the Chain of Craters Road. I got to the ocean. You go from the craters to the
Wow.
ocean,
Wow.
and then down at the ocean, there is the sea arch that I believe was, I don't know exactly how long it's been there, but when there was active lava a few years ago, that was one of the places that the helicopters flew over because lava was just coming out of the side of the cliff down into the water and making all this steam.
Wow.
And it was really spectacular.
Wow.
And
Crazy.
I of course wasn't there when that was happening, but they had a lot of helicopter tours down there and stuff. So that was it. They said it was really something, but now the lava has all cooled and there's no active lava there, but the sea arch is there. So I
Hmm.
didn't make it to the sea arch because my trip got cut short.
Oh,
But a
Sorry.
life was born, so there's a
That's
whole
right.
different thing.
For a
Mm.
very wonderful reason, I came back to see
Oh,
a
I know
my
because you were going
grandma.
to do an event too, and Tanya Ortega, the founder of the National Parks Arts Foundation, she's like, "I'm doing the event," and I was like, "Look!" And we got to see Tanya. We're like seeing her on social media because, you know, she's like this amazing woman, and of course, there's volunteers
yeah.
and a board, and juries who do the, you know, you guys get juried, you know, to be
That's right.
accepted, and I mean, it's a for real deal, but Tanya is one of
Mhm.
the coolest
Right.
people on the planet,
Mm.
and you've met her. You've got to meet her, right?
Oh
Because
yes. Oh
we're
yes.
really
And
jealous about that, you know, because
oh
I
man,
mean, we want
she
to meet her.
introduced, yeah, she introduced my first talk, and I told her, you know, if someone would introduce, I have never been introduced like that. It was so professional, and she has a great
That's
voice, you
cool.
know,
Yes,
it
she does.
carries. And I was like, oh, you can't help but do a great job when you get introduced that way. But yeah, she's
Awesome.
wonderful. Her husband, he's wonderful. I got to meet him, and so I got to see her again when I was back, and
Oh,
hopefully they'll
Nice.
come over to Texas someday and come see us.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
hope
are
so.
really
Cool.
great. Yeah, and sometimes, you know, they have the jury and then also the park staff at whatever park you're going to, they also look at your work and see, you
Oh,
know, do we want this artist? And so I think it's really neat that the finals, you know, it's really up to the park staff at the park. So
And they
Yes.
understand the park and what, that is a special thing. And it's amazing all the different people, all the different artists that have gone to Hawaii. And I think we've done more interviews. I mean, obviously there's the art house that you stayed in, but I think we've done
Yeah.
more interviews on Hawaii-Volcanoes Park out of all the residencies. And it's, it's been very active. We did a lot with Gettysburg too. We've done
yeah.
a lot. We've done a lot of interviews over the years. I
Mhm.
can't even
Yeah.
It
I
could
can't
be a
even say how
book.
many, but yeah, it could be its own book. We should just put everybody in there and say,
Yeah.
look at this. But
Yeah.
it is, when you think about Hawaii, it is this moving thing. Does the lava, because I think you'll get it more than most, does the lava remind you of the monsoons when the desert suddenly has a bunch of rain and becomes an ocean so quick and so fast, and then it goes away? You know what I mean? Where
With
suddenly,
the flash floods, right?
yeah, the
Right.
flash
When
floods.
when natural phenomenon occurs and changes the landscape, you then the earth is alive, and we have no control over the earth. And that's one of the things that that the natives and the park rangers were saying. The earth is alive, and the earth is the boss. We can think that we're going to change things, that we're going to change the way the earth functions, but no, you are not.
Yeah, it's like earthquake.
He's the boss. Yeah.
What are you going to do about an earthquake? You're like, hey,
Right.
now stop that. Don't do that.
Right. It's
Yeah.
going to
Well,
happen.
And right now, as we're recording this, and by the time this airs, this would have happened. We have Hurricane Ian moving into Tampa, and I'm listening to
Right.
all the weather people talk, and one guy is like, Mother
Gonna
Nature is
happen.
Mother Nature. You cannot, don't be stupid
No.
about this. If your area
No.
is evacuated, don't, like, this is, you are
Don't.
not going to overpower Mother Nature. And
No.
whatever she wants to do, she wants to do. And I'm hope everything goes, well for people out
I do
there
too.
going through this,
That
Yeah.
that hurricane, I think, is going to pass over Loggerhead Key, and so we'll see.
Yeah, because it's hitting the Keys tonight, I believe, as we're recording. So again, everyone,
Okay.
sorry, I know this is going to be airing after
Oh.
this effect, but you were in Loggerhead Key. So that's the thing. You had to do all the like the NASA, was it the NASA preparations? They gave you like
FEMA
Yeah.
hurricane training,
I don't know
and
why I said NASA.
yeah, we did that.
Well, that's good though.
Turned out great. No hurricanes. Of course, that was in March. We went in March, and if we had been there in September like we were supposed to be, of course, it would have been time to evacuate, because you can't stay there in a hurricane. So
that training is good knowledge to have.
yeah, it's really good, and I think there were 3 or 4 classes we had to take, and of course we got them all taken, and got to go. And before you go, you have to take that. That's a requirement. So then you also need insurance in case you have to be evacuated. And then they also suggest trip insurance in case your trip gets canceled, so you can recoup some of that money you spent trying to get there. So
yeah, that makes sense.
You have had a really busy year. I mean, you did Loggerhead Key. You did Paris.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't you go to Paris too?
Yes.
And
yes.
then you got Hawaii Volcanoes. I mean, but these are residencies, they're in depth, and you're painting on site, and then you still do more when you get home, right? It doesn't really end for you.
This is just the start. Yeah. Loggerhead Key in March, Provence in May, and that was at NG Arts Creative Residency. And that was an immersive experience. That was 3 weeks. And now Hawaii Volcanoes in September. So
cool.
It's been quite a year, but wonderful. And these little plein air, these are just plein air paintings. So these are all executed in under 2 hours, sometimes in 1 hour. The smaller ones like this is one of the smaller ones. And this actually shows Mauna Loa, the huge shield volcano that's the largest in the world. And up on top is an observatory.
Oh, wow.
Right next to Mauna Loa is Mauna Kea, and there are a lot of observatories on Mauna Kea too. And I'm so sorry, I'm mispronouncing all of these, but
Sounds good to me.
that's just me. Okay,
Oh, look at that.
these are little 4x6 sketches, and this is the Pu'upaui Hill.
You go, girl.
This is on the
I love
Byron Ledge Trail. So Kilauea erupted, Kilauea Iki. That's Kilauea Iki means small. So this is the small crater next to the Kilauea crater. It erupted, and this was back in the 1950s, and it
Wow.
shot a stream of lava 1,900 feet in the air.
Whoa.
And
Wow.
so the fallout from that created this hill.
Wow. Can you
And this-
imagine?
No,
1900.
this hill is sacred to the Hawaiians.
I
And
bet.
of course, all of Hawaii is sacred to the Hawaiians.
Of course.
And so you're not to climb on this hill. You stay back.
Cool.
But it's an interesting hill because most of Hawaii is gray, and because of the lava, gray and brown, and so you get to really use your gray and black paint. But there on the Byron Ledge Trail and the Devastation Trail, the lava for some reason has turned to sort of a rust color, like was in the painting, and that's I liked this spot because it looked to me sort of like our ranch looks sometimes.
I was gonna say, doesn't that did you feel at home with that dirt that we have it here where we are recording right now? We're in Rougemont, North Carolina, and the dirt changes, and then when you see red dirt, kind of reminds me of Africa.
Yeah, I
when
was
you
gonna
see
say
red
it's
dirt, there's
Kenyan.
ants that are gonna get you.
It's
There you
Kenyan.
go. So another thing I heard quite a bit from the natives and the rangers was that the earth shapes the people. The landscape shapes the people. That is true because the landscape changes about every 50 miles. I know this is true in ranching. Ranching changes every 50 miles. They do things different. In 50 miles, the practices are going to change. The terrain changes, the soils change, the plants change. So you have to do things different. You have to adapt what you're doing to fit the land. You can't just say, here's what we're going to do. No, you better listen to the land and let it tell you what you're going to do to work with it.
Oh, I love this. This is so
Yeah,
interesting about you
that
because
is cool.
having the ranching background, and I mean, this is a family history that it runs deep, and I know you do it in a very natural way.
Yes.
It's the same thing when I look at gardening where they tell you, oh, go down to the big box store and they'll just think every succulent and cactus plant will grow in the desert. No, it doesn't work that way because we have all
No,
these
it doesn't.
microclimates. So what will
Right.
grow in Tucson will not grow in Wink, Texas, where you are, right? It's just not going to happen.
Oh, no. There are plants from Arizona that will not grow where we are because we have freezes and it gets very cold. Arizona, they usually don't have a freeze. Their temperature swings are more towards the hot. But,
Well, even, one plant in one part of Arizona won't grow in another part of Arizona for the same reason. Because
Like the
there's so many
ponderosa pines I think the
Right.
largest stand of ponderosa pines in the country or the world is in Flagstaff. Then you can't take those to Tucson. That's not going to, but you can in the surrounding areas, maybe, but like the Chiricahuas, maybe, but
Same in Hawaii. So
yeah.
there are the different areas that, I was in the Ka'u region and there's also the Kona region, and Hawaii is sort of, if you think of Hawaii as a pie shape, it's not exactly round, but it has a tall center. It's like a tall pie. And if you start at the tip of Mauna Loa and cut a pie slice out, that's kind of what the different regions look like. So within that pie slice, you've got every microclimate. So you go from the top where nothing grows and it's Mauna Loa, and then you come down and they start growing coffee. And then you come a little further down and they start growing vegetables and pineapples. And then a little further down, there is where most of the towns are, sort of in the dividing line between mountains and plains, not plains, but a gentler slope. And then even further down, they start growing livestock. So, and then right on the coast in the Ka'u region, there's a wind farm and it's very dry. So every
Wow.
every level, the further you go up in elevation, every level has its own microclimate. And, you know, there can be several microclimates within within the same elevation. So just a country full of microclimates.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So most of Hawaii is lava. So I can't remember the percentage, but usually it's just gray like this.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Though.
But look at
That's
those clouds.
really
Those
nice.
clouds kind of remind me of Texas too.
And that's another thing.
The trees growing in the lava.
Yeah, when whatever color your soil is in the landscape is going to reflect off all the surfaces. So it'll reflect off the clouds, the trees, it'll reflect off you onto your canvas. You know, if you've got a light color shirt on, you're casting a certain color light on your canvas. So when the light hits this gray lava, it's sort of reflecting gray everywhere. So it is a little bit of a challenge, but you can see the warm grays in the bottom of the clouds. So your clouds will be warm on the bottom and then kind of that warm gray, and then they'll get a little lighter. And then on top, they're more blue because they're reflecting the light from up above. Same, that's true of any object. The closer you get to the ground, you're going to warm up that object because it's reflecting light from the ground. And then the further you get up in a tree, for instance, you're going to be reflecting light from the sky, which will be bluer. So,
and this goes in photography too, big time. And that's why we have to play Photoshop later or whatever you do, because it does change. It does. What you see and what the camera sees are two different things. It's interesting.
Oh, so totally different. I love photography, but I can work from a photograph, but it is so much easier if I go and collect the resources, collect the colors, the drawings and stuff, and then
so
come
that's
back.
so you're working off of the plein air paintings to make the bigger paintings because you've already gone, this is my color. And so you can look at that. So way you've done
color.
You can see the color and you don't have to sit there and say, here's the color recipe. I know how I made that color.
Right. It's sort of your cheat sheet. So I'll use the paintings, and then I'll also take photographs. I will use photographs as a reference tool, and then also any notes, drawings. So this is just your cheat sheet for when you go back into the studio. Now there is another part of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park that used to be a ranch, and this is from the Kahuku unit. Nice. I would go there Thursday through Sunday because that's when it's open. Ranger Wendy went on her ranger tour. It was wonderful. And what is really neat about that is that the Hawaiians show respect to the land and they show respect to the forest. So before we went on her ranger tour, we stopped, we cleaned off our shoes because there's a rapid ohia death. They call it rod that comes in on a fungus, and yet they don't want that going in there. So you brush your shoes off, you spray them down with alcohol, and then she sang sort of a chant to the forest in Hawaii, showing respect and asking permission to enter. Oh, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
That's nice. No, that's beautiful. I think there's something to be connected with that. I mean, it's interesting just even, farming, you're a rancher and we're on this little farm compared to what you do, but if you go to pick a plant like the eggplant that I've been picking, there's a plant that says, no, I'm not ready. Don't take me. And if you communicate, I know it sounds weird and woo-woo, but it's true. If you communicate with the plants, they'll let you just pick them. You don't even need
Yeah,
the shear. You know what I mean? It's like there's
tell
a,
them it's time to be picked, and
it's
you
come
know,
on, babies, we're going. And there's a communication. And I think that our cultural peoples, the indigenous peoples, really understand that connection. And we tend to forget to communicate with nature, even in just
right.
our own way. We'll have a conversation between people. But I talked to Nancy saying with the chickens before you came on the
I
show.
know.
She
I'm
was saying
teaching
she has
them.
a,
Oh,
I
fun.
know they're
fun.
so much fun.
but
They
it's an
like
important
it.
yeah,
part.
You're right. We most people go to the grocery store to pick up
Mm.
their vegetables, so they don't get to
Mm.
commune with the plant much, and they go to
But-
the grocery store and get their meat or whatever protein
Yeah.
But
they're going to
the
get.
plants are living beings, creatures, whatever you want to call them. They're alive. They're
Right.
not
Oh yeah.
dead. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, and I just remember reading The Secret Life of Plants. And ever since I read that book, I'm like really
It's one of
careful.
my favorite. So yeah, I
Because,
mean,
you know, are you hurting a plant? Are you shocking them? What are you doing to them? You know, and so it's just
Oh
like,
right.
you know,
Right.
to
do you
don't
talk
mean
to your
any
cattle?
Oh
You
yes, I tell them what to do all the time. And
Mhm.
it's funny, but it works. So
Mhm.
if we want them to go through a gate, I'll say, okay, y'all go through that gate and point. And sometimes they'll go. And I think, well,
Mhm.
that's
You
See,
just
but I
need
think there's a
one.
point that because I mean, kids aren't always going to do what you say either, right? So it's kind of
Right.
that thing, like the chickens are that way. And I just feel like if we take time, there's a connectivity. And I think that's something as an artist, when you're painting and plein air painting, and I want to go back to cleaning your
Mm.
shoes too on that, this, you know, farm tour you're
Right.
talking about. But as you're painting, do you start to feel like a deeper connection with nature and your surroundings because you've slowed down and you're observing and you're not just
Right.
taking it in, but you're also outputting?
Right. I do.
Mm.
I've, you know, a lot of the times in Hawaii, there are a lot of tourists. There weren't so many this time. And that's good. I mean, tourists are wonderful, but a lot of them don't have the time to spend that I did. And I'm so appreciative to the National Parks Arts Foundation for giving artists this chance to go in and spend
Mhm.
time in a park and absorb what that park's going to tell them. So if you get out there and start painting, it gets quiet. And sometimes animals will walk by. They won't
Mhm.
even know you're there. The birds will start chirping.
Mhm.
One of the rangers said, if you're quiet while you're watching the lava, sometimes you can hear it. You know, you'll be a mile or two away, but she said sometimes you can hear it. I never was able to hear it, but
Hmm.
that's
Wow.
probably
That's
because
kind
of
of
hearing loss.
scary. But it could be kind of scary to hear it. You're all like,
Yeah, it's
Where's it
coming.
Well,
going?
right.
Hmm.
But yeah, you get when you spend time, you start to notice things. And it just you do. It kind of flows from nature through your brush, through your brain, through your hand, through your brush
Well,
onto the canvas. It's very
it's
authentic.
it's attention to detail that normally you walk by. That's, you know, to me, that's what an artist does, is attention to detail, so that people who are too busy to pay attention to detail will stop once in a while, look at a painting and get it.
Right. Art is nothing but knowing how to see or learning how to see and trying to help other people see.
Mm-hmm.
Interpreters.
Yeah,
Creative
Yeah.
interpreters. It's
Yeah.
true. It's storytelling, and that's
it
the
is.
greatest way. And I think it's,
Yeah, the
I love your
narrative.
art. I think this is so, we really got to come see you when we get through Texas this coming year, because I
Y'all
hope,
come
but
see
you
me.
never know, you'll
Yeah.
be somewhere else, you know. But it's you know, I want to just close in this, because this is you've done a repeat place, which I think is, you know, amazing. And I know some artists have done that, you know, and there's something to be followed up. It's like, I don't think,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
you leave, do you always feel like you're not done yet? Like you're,
Right.
even though
Oh,
it's a month, you still like you
right.
need to go back.
Yeah.
I'm not done yet. You could spend a lifetime in Hawaii
Mhm.
and not be done. So
Absolutely, because it changes.
Yeah.
Nature changes hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute.
right.
The
I want to
sky
go
is
back.
moving. The
Oh,
sky
right.
moves. you know,
well,
and it's different.
yeah, changes
Even-
every season changes it.
Yeah, it's so
That-
it keeps changing. So there's no way you're gonna see it all, but you can
Right.
try. You could try.
Right. Now this, I wanted to tell you, this is the
Yes.
ohia tree.
Mm.
Very
Okay.
interesting tree. The rapid ohia death is what comes in on a fungus. So
Mhm.
that's why you brush your shoes off and spray them with, I think it's rubbing alcohol,
Mm.
so that you don't bring that fungus in. And rapid ohia death, there's no cure except to keep that fungus out. And you don't know the tree has it until it's dead. So
Oh.
it can go from alive to dead, and
Mm.
there's nothing you can do. But so the ohia tree is the first tree to come back on fresh lava, and it's a polymorphic tree, so it can take many forms. It can be a small little shrub, or it can grow 100 feet tall.
Wow.
So and have flowers. Sometimes they're red, sometimes orange, and
Wow.
it
That's
can have a lot of
amazing.
flowers or a few flowers. It's a beautiful tree.
Wow.
But it's
I don't
amazing
know
that
how
it
they
grows
grow
on
in the
lava.
lava.
Yeah,
It's-
you
that's
know,
crazy.
that blows
It's
my
indigenous.
mind.
It's indigenous to Hawaii. It grows nowhere else in the world. There's close relative in New Zealand, and it's
Hmm.
the honey creeper bird likes this tree. Another unique thing about the tree is that it has blossoms that will close up when H2S gas there gets to be too much H2S gas in the air from the volcano, and
Wow.
it'll close up so it won't absorb that. That's why it's able to come back right
Wow.
beside a volcano on the fresh
That's
lava.
amazing.
It creates a microclimate for other seeds underneath it,
Wow.
and other seeds can sprout. So
That's
so
it's a
amazing.
neat tree.
So wait,
Wonderful.
it's farting.
No, but that's crazy.
It's a
That's
clean fart.
amazing.
Sorry, I
Wow.
had to go there.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean,
well-
but I mean, it is in a way, it's creating this extra
Lisa.
gaseous exchange for the
yeah,
other
yeah. Well,
other things to happen.
it's taking the H2S out of the air and recycling it. So the volcano in the steam vents or in the when the volcano erupts, it's spewing all kinds of gases out into the air, and it's always doing that. So
That's amazing.
when the buildings were built around the Kilauea crater, they were built on the upwind side, and so all the gases flow out the other side. Sometimes the wind switches, and they, of course, have measures. They'll evacuate everything, but that's not often at all. Very
Mhm.
rarely. And
Hmm.
there's gases you don't want to breathe. So
Right.
Sure, I was gonna say, yeah, because gas, I mean, it's not, I mean, as natural as they are, may not be good for the body, you know.
it's not.
No.
Everything that's natural does not mean, don't eat those purple berries sometimes, you know what I mean? Just
Right,
because it's natural
right.
doesn't mean it's okay, you know?
That's
Yeah,
right.
going back to that fungus, it's something we've seen in a lot of parks now that
Mhm.
they're getting you to clean off your shoes. They have like a boot brush and things like that. And
Well,
we're
good.
seeing more and more
Mhm.
about that. Like even Saguaro National Park in Tucson has it. And you
Oh.
also think about where did you put your backpack last? Did you put it down somewhere? Did something climb onto that? Are you taking
Right.
it somewhere? So a lot of us
Mhm.
are doing road trips with parks. I mean, look at Nancy and I. I mean, we
Mm.
could be the ultimate carriers of something, and we don't want to be. So it is about cleaning your shoes. No, but I
Mhm.
I
Right.
really mean this. When people travel across the country, they do these road trips according to national parks, and they can end up taking an invasive species that was fine.
Mhm.
Wasn't
Yeah.
invasive over
Yeah.
here, but now it is over there. So
Right.
even if the parks don't have the setup to brush your shoes and everything, think about
Sure.
doing it before you get somewhere. Like brush them off
Mhm.
in the place that you're in. Like brush them off, put your feet in the car, then go, to your next
Yeah.
destination. Because it really
Right.
is a situation
Yes,
across the
it
country
is.
that we're seeing.
Mhm.
Oh, we travel
Right.
so much. You don't want to be carrying seed from one place to the next. It may be an
Mhm.
invasive species that the farmer or rancher does not want on his
Well,
ranch.
and there's
So-
Yeah.
that disease that's killing bats. So, and that comes
Right.
in on people's feet.
Right.
That's a
Right.
fungus
So,
too, I
you
think.
know.
Yeah.
When equipment comes on our ranch, we have them do a weed wash, like when a dozer or anything like that comes in on the ranch, they have to do a weed wash, which means they wash the undercarriage in the vehicle and make sure there are no seeds up under there, because we don't want invasive plants planted all over our ranch.
Exactly.
We're supposed to be protecting it, and that's part of that. Is to
Oh my
keep,
gosh, I can't wait to come hang
That's
out
so
with you and talk
cool.
about ranching and working with the land. Because it's such an important thing. We've done so many interviews
so
about it
important.
because,
Yeah.
you know, we can't get rid of farms and ranching because we do have to eat. But there's practices that have been negative and positive.
Your
you know?
farmers and ranchers, they have lived with that land. That land takes care of them, and they are going to do everything in their power to protect that land. They
Yeah.
are going to take care of it because it's probably going to be passed down in their family, and they want their grandkids. They're not making decisions, but as to what's best for them, they're making decisions way down the line, their grandkids and their grandkids' kids. So we live in the shifting sands region, and if you drive over that or disturb the soil, the wind starts blowing the sand around and nothing will grow. It'll just create a sand hill. And that has happened in several places, and
Wow.
people don't understand. Why can't we come in and make smooth out this rough spot? No, you can't.
It's not the
Just
way it
leave it
is.
alone. Leave it
That's where
alone.
that's nature's breathing space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think,
Right.
yeah, it is interesting. And I think that the parks, that's what's so fascinating to me. Obviously, we love your art. I mean, everyone go to
Thank you.
AliceLeese.com. Okay. Leese, Leese, not like a land lease, Leese. But what's so interesting is that you're connecting parks and that preservation and interpretation with what is
Yeah.
going on in the ranching world too, because there's an interpretation that needs to happen with that too. So I think there's so many connections with what you're doing in art that connect back to your family heritage of farming and ranching, and into preservation of our land for people and for the planet. So it's just cool, man. It's always good to see you, Alice.
Oh, great to see you, Lisa and Nancy. Y'all are looking good.
You too. Thank you. And listen, you're a grandma, so congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
you
really
don't look
cool.
like a grandma. I'm just gonna say that, but
Thank
one day
you.
you will.
Oh,
That
she's
sounds
wonderful.
terrible.
She is
bet.
wonderful.
I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying it just, it's exciting to have a baby in the,
Oh, yeah.
in the household and in the arms. And so
Yeah.
where do you think you're going next? Are you hanging out in Texas for a while now that you're grandma?
I'm gonna stay around for a while because I am a grandma. But of course, I'll be applying. I'm gonna head down to the Big Bend next for a plein air trip, and then I'm gonna be up in Oklahoma City at Small Works Great Wonders, and then there's another show opening here in Texas somewhere. It's called Wildflowers, so I'll be at that one too. So try to stick around close.
Yeah, everyone keep up with Alice, AliceLeese.com, and you're on Instagram, Facebook, right? Twitter?
Yes. Yeah.
She's all over the place. So just connect with her, especially go to her website and watch for events and exhibits, and say hi to Rob for us, okay?
I sure will.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. Again, the National Parks Arts Foundation, we do this show every first Friday. Keep up with them at nationalparksartsfoundation.org and apply if you're an artist, a writer, poet, dancer, whatever you do in the arts. I encourage you. I know Alice, right?
Yeah.
Do it.
Right. Oh yeah. Keep applying. You'll surprise you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just all the stories we've gathered over the years and conversations with artists of all styles have really enjoyed it, and it's really changed their career and their creative process. It's not just the career part; it's a little bit of everything. So check it out.
It's pivotal. It'll change your life. Yep.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And everyone keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.